Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm so excited. Today is the first time we have collaborated with New Jersey to host this. And so it's ASID New York Metro and ASID New Jersey, and we're all coming together during this time and pandemic and state of the world and our industry to bring to you as much information as we can get our hands on. And we're so lucky today to have Phyllis Harbinger speak for us. She is just an inspirational human, good to the very core, someone I've known for, I don't know, maybe 20 years, a mentor to me, and someone I'm so lucky to call my friend. She owns Design Concepts Interior. She's an interior designer. She owns Phyllis Harbinger Design Consulting, for which she'll be speaking from today on her experience and what comes next, and all tips and tricks and such good information. So make sure you've got that pen handy, because we're lucky to have a wealth of knowledge. She's been past president of ASID New York Metro. She works with ASID National, so she is the it girl when it comes to so much that is relevant to our fields. And so Phyllis, thank you so much for joining us. Brian gave you our schedule coming up for the week. It's a bit different because it was a holiday week than it normally is, but it's still packed as best as we can. And and as he said, it's a safe space. So anybody who's coming here is coming to listen to the information, ask the questions, not coming to figure out who's on here and how to contact them. That's not the space for that. I just want to make sure to be clear. And with that, I'd love to introduce Sandy, the president of ASID New Jersey, and she may have some information to share with us as well. Sandy, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is really a nice idea that we can marry the families for this incredible webinar. I'm so looking forward to hearing what you have to say today, Phyllis. And, you know, nice to see all these faces on this webinar. It's wonderful. We also, you know, obviously it's our only vehicle for connecting with our members, but we are also doing weekly webinars. We've been doing them Thursday at 4. I know New York's doing the same, but everyone's welcome to join us. We're posting on our social media. If you are interested in a topic and you're not able to view it live, we are posting them on our YouTube channel as a follow-up. So, you know, you guys, everyone in the New York chapter is welcome to participate with everything that New Jersey is doing. We'd love to integrate more with you. So yeah, it's great to be here today, and looking forward to hearing from you, Phyllis. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all, Brian, Allie, Alyssa, Sandy. This is a really great opportunity. Terry had reached out almost at the same time as Alyssa did, and I said, why don't we do this collaboration? It's such an ASID thing to collaborate, and I thought it would be great for us to get the two chapters together so that we could all share and be in one Zoom room at the same time. So thank you for having me. I know that your time is valuable, so I'm going to speak for a little over a half an hour and then open up to Q&A so that we have some time to get to your questions. It's great to see so many familiar faces here, and then some people that I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to hearing from you as well. So even while all of our states are reopening, and we're doing it at different phases, and clients, I don't know about yours, but clients of mine are wanting live meetings and more connection, more human contact. Many of us are still a little uncomfortable navigating these waters, and we want to continue working from home. So we all know that this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted millions of people across the globe, and all of our daily routines, no matter who you are or where you are, all of our routines have been impacted, and our work styles have basically been turned upside down. And not everyone was accustomed to working from home. Many of you have offices, or you're employed by companies, and you did not have this in your mindset that you would ever work from home. So it's a big shift for so many people in our world, and especially for designers, where we have such a different set of skills and set of needs as designers that other people don't have. So maybe you were forced into working from home and your space is not optimal, and that huge adjustment is still taking place, because we as designers like our spaces to be just so. We have certain modus operandi, And that just doesn't happen in a minute. And you can't just get things the way you could before either. So for a lot of you who know me well, you know that I've always had my business out of my home. It's always worked for me. However, even though I've done that for almost 30 years, this pandemic still flipped me over because I was used to doing things in a certain way. I had my modus operandi with my team, and it wasn't the same because the team can't meet together. We can't go to client sites. Well, until last week, as a matter of fact, or this week, I should say. And so it was really a big learning curve. In addition, I'm an educator. I've been teaching at FIT for 22 years, and I teach 9 hours a week, a studio class. So teaching a class online was a completely different experience as well. So I think that no matter who you are or what your past experience has been with work from home, it definitely has shifted your mindset. So last year, I can tell you that I might have spent this much time as compared to the last 3 months in my office. I'm always out, whether I'm shopping with a client, going to a job site, meeting with a contractor, meeting with a vendor, teaching in the city and meeting clients in the city and shopping in the city. It doesn't matter, but I'm always out. And now I've always been in. So the office that was more of my home base and then other parts of my house where we did conferencing, etc., it's all changed now. And I spend a lot of time here. So I want to talk about the things that are going to work here. And any of you that do know me know that I'm always looking for the silver lining in everything that happens. And there really are silver linings in the WFH world that we're all inhabiting at the moment. So the bright sides, your commute, you're saving time on your commute. I know I'm loving that. Spending more time with family. I don't think I've seen my husband's face as much in 20 years. We'll be married 20 years this month as I have in the past 3 months. And maybe getting a few more things done. Educating yourself. I've done an incredible amount of CEUs, getting them out of the way for our 10 plus that we need for ASID, but also other learning opportunities, learning about different things. I've also started to teach myself Rhino. I plan on doing more courses this summer in other areas that I've always been interested in. And maybe you've had the opportunity to hire a virtual employee or a freelancer to do some of your CAD work or renderings. I've had a virtual bookkeeper, virtual team for at least the past 20 years before the word virtual was a word we were using. But there are a lot of opportunities out there. So I want you all to just kind of think about the positive, even though we're all stressed out about the unknowns. If you try to keep that level of positivity, it will bring new opportunities to you that you might be closed to if you're in that negative space and that space of fear. So I really want to encourage that. It's also a great time to think about hiring an intern. We've talked about this a lot in another group that I'm a part of, and also the IDCEC.
The candidate for.
I think somebody needs to mute. So interns are an amazing resource for you. I've been an advocate for interns. Alyssa was my intern years ago when I met her on the board of ASID. And I think that you can really, really get a lot of benefit from having an intern, and you can give a lot to an intern. So I'd like to encourage you. A lot of them thought they were going to be doing different things this summer than they are. A lot of graduates are looking and are open to internships while they wait to have a full-time opportunity. And they have mad skills, and they could really be an asset to your organization, where some of us are maybe having some financial challenges with, hiring up at this point in time. You might benefit from having an intern. So I'd like you to just consider that. And, in terms of challenges, loneliness, staying connected, and the heightened sense of distraction, they can all have a significant effect on your psyche and your productivity. So I want to help you with some of those things. I believe that many of you may not be comfortable going back just yet to an office environment, whether or not your employer wants you to. You may not be comfortable going back to see clients yet. So how can you deal and manage all of those different aspects of how we work as designers? And if you figure that out, it can really be a game changer in terms of your workflow, your productivity. If you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, or even just a business owner of a small firm or a large firm, and you're seeing that working from home does have certain benefits, the cash savings, the rent that you could save on office environments, anything that you can look at in this new normal and look for reasons to embrace this while you're doing it. It might be an opportunity for you to look at your whole situation differently as we have our re-entry into whatever is coming to us next. And some of you may not have a home office. I was fortunate enough to set that up when we moved into this house, and I've always had a home office, so it was different for me. But some of you may be relegated to a spare bedroom, a kitchen, a corner of a living room. Maybe you're even down in a basement if you're in a suburban home. I don't know, but we can still, as designers, make these spaces as comfortable and productive as we need them to be. So I'd like to first talk about our boundaries, which is a big topic for me. And boundaries during our COVID captivity, as I've been calling it, are even more important now than they ever have been in our lives. So we need to learn how to live, work, heal, play in this new normal. And we still have to respect the ground rules, whether you're a business owner, a solopreneur, or an employee. You still have to honor your boundaries and honor your time. And if you do that as a leader of your team, if you are a business owner, if you do that, your employees will follow your lead. You have to lead by example. And I think that's a very important thing, because right now, all the rules went out the window in the beginning when I would speak to my colleagues about how they were handling this transition. And I think that if you really can put that first, and if you do have a team, to respect their being in this situation as well and what's happening with them, because you can't walk over to their desk and ask what's happening. You can't just say, hey, let's hop into a quiet room for a meeting. So it's really important to think about the differences that are happening now. And if you respect yourself enough to lay down the rules, you are that worthy, and you're more worthy than you think. And I really I know I always have to put a little mindset spin on things, because that's my thing, and I really truly believe in this. But I really want you to think about that. Your preferences really do matter. And as you elevate your professional standards and your personal standards, your boundaries will continue to be stronger. I learned this years ago from my mentor, and it's been one of the best life lessons that I've ever had, not only in my career, but in my personal life as well. So if you model what it's like to practice self-love through your work, that will give you so much guidance in how to move forward into our new normal and what it brings for us. Especially now when we're home, you've got to keep to your set office hours. That to me is really critical. I'm committed to my client and team from 9 to 6, and then it's time to decompress, spend time with my family, recharge my creativity. We're not good to anyone if we're burned out. And a lot of designers work crazy hours, meeting clients at 10 o'clock at night. And it's not healthy for us as creatives, because creatives need that time to get back what they give, because we give so much all day to everyone that we're involved with. So if you do this, your clients, your team, and other support members, your vendors, your contractors, they're going to respect you for setting these boundaries. You don't want to become a slave to your life's purpose. If design is your life's purpose, which most of us it is, you want to make sure that you're able to live your life's purpose of being a creative by adding value. And you cannot do this if you don't have boundaries. So boundaries is a huge word for you to start to employ if you're not already doing it. And for those that are doing it, I have to step back every once in a while and say, hey, was I successful in that? And maybe I need to do a course correction. So always know that we're living, breathing, evolving humans, and we need to always course correct. So it's okay to do things a little differently and look at things and then make a course correction to make it better. So I also want to just put in here to you all that you are not here as a design, creative, wonderful professional to be a rescuer or to create codependency. I want you to really think about this statement. And I want you, if you're interested in really getting this to sink in as I say it, you can close your eyes, because closing your eyes makes things sink into us a little bit more. And if you close your eyes and you take a deep breath in and just let it out. Okay, keep your eyes closed if you're into this. You are responsible to your clients, but you are not responsible for your clients. You are responsible to your clients, but you are not responsible for your clients. There's a point of overgiving to a client that many creatives are guilty of. And I used to be 100% guilty of this. I'm outing myself. But if you are guilty of this, your clients will continue to expect this from you always. So you must set those tones with your clients. We actually have a document that I created for both of my businesses when I'm working with my design clients and when I'm working with coaching clients. And when they sign their agreement with me, their letter of agreement, they also get a document called What to Expect When Working with DCI Studio or when working with Phyllis Harbinger. And it's really important that you spell out all of the nuts and bolts of when you're available, what your hours of operation are, what your expectations are of your client, and what they can expect of you. And this is not the same as your legal contract that they're signing. This is different. And it really, really sets the tone for your relationship moving forward. So when you manage the expectations of your clients, your vendors, your contractors, anyone you work with, you will set yourself and them up for a much more successful and meaningful relationship. And I can tell you that this really does work wonders. And I'm so grateful for having been introduced to this concept years ago. So I'm going to leave you with that on boundaries. And now I'd like to start to talk about different procedures and tips and hacks that I want to give you, because that's something that I really love to do. And we've had a few months to research this. So let's start with meeting software. Some of you may be on trial versions of various software that you use to run your businesses. Maybe your employers didn't really think we'd be in this situation for as long as we have and will be. So whether you're a business owner and you're on your personal laptop because your office desktop is somewhere else that you can't get to, or you're an employee using a personal laptop, it's important that we start to think as designers of setting up ourselves up for the future. I have AutoCAD LT on all of my designers' laptops because it's important for them to have that software. You don't need to go with the full suite if you're cash poor at the moment or you're struggling, but LT gives you a ton of capability. And so I highly recommend that if you are using AutoCAD and your team is using AutoCAD, that you get that. With AutoCAD, we also use AutoCAD 360, which is on the iPad and the phone. So I can quickly look at a drawing, I can redline, I can comment. And that's been a game changer for us, because if I've got drawings that are already there, I can just pull them up even if there's no internet. I also suggest that you might want to increase your data versus just Wi-Fi capability. I'm on unlimited data and then I hotspot to my other devices, which also has been a game changer with the low connectivity that we're experiencing, some of us. So you might want to think about doing that as well. And we're all on Zoom right now having this meeting, which I absolutely love. I love Zoom, but there are other platforms that you might want to look at because everybody has their own sweet spot. So I've been testing different things out over the course of the last 3 months. I've used WebEx, which I think is my runner-up to Zoom. It has a lot of capability, but Zoom I feel is better and more user-friendly, especially with my clients. I've used Google Meet. I don't love it. It doesn't have enough capability. I've used Miro, which is a really cool tool that's both for education and professionals. It's this board platform where you can upload documents, share with your team, bring in your vendors, your contractors, and it's like this one clearinghouse where everybody could go to look at various stages of the project. I was introduced to it by one of my colleagues at FIT, and we used it for a project, and we saw the whole timeline of the project evolve. So you could do that for your clients too, showing where you're starting and the evolution of your drawings, and it's amazing. So I highly recommend it, MIRO, like the artist, and they have different programs, and they do have a trial that you can use if you want to just test run it. We also used a program at school that I boycotted, and it was Blackboard Collaborate, which was the clunkiest program I've ever seen in my life.
Phyllis,
So
you're
those are
breaking
just
up.
a couple of ideas.
You might want to repeat that. Phyllis, you were breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry, Brian, what did you say?
You were breaking up a little bit. You might want to repeat that. I apologize to interrupt you. Sorry.
Okay, so did you hear WebEx and Google Meet?
Yes, and then what came right after that, just like 30 seconds before what you were just speaking. Sorry, there was a lot of static.
Okay, sorry about that. So I was talking about another Collaborate platform, Blackboard, that I don't recommend. So if anybody's looking at that, don't look at it. And if you're an educator and had to use it, I would try to get your people to use something else because it's not great. So all the tools that you need to annotate, to screen share, whiteboard, so much more can be found in these various platforms. I don't know how many of you are using them in that way right now, but you can absolutely conduct online meetings with all of your team members and your clients. And I've been doing that now since March 13th. So I really invite you to really explore the capabilities that these platforms have. So I don't know if you all have started to think about the webcam. I know our computers come with a built-in webcam, but they're really not that great. Mine, for one, I have this tiny little 12-inch laptop that was so great for me while I was a mobile professional. But now being here, I do not love that my camera is at the bottom left of my screen. So I invested in a webcam. I use a Logitech webcam, and it's been really terrific. I love it. And it has a built-in microphone so that you can choose to use the one in your computer or the one in your webcam. You want to make sure that you're looking and putting it in an optimum location so that you can view everybody and they can see you. And you have a lot of capability with it too. It tilts, it moves, it fits. So highly recommend. Another really important thing, and I'm seeing that some of you could really use this from seeing your screens today, is great lighting. Lighting in our whole industry is such a crucial topic, but it's really crucial as we're meeting online. You want to try to have your face lit, and it could be lit by a nearby window, or some people can get a small webcam light. That's an option as well. And some people can get a clip ring light to put on their monitor or on their screen, and that will light up your face. One of the problems that a lot of us have, Phyllis and I were just talking about this earlier, is if you have elevations that have windows and they're behind you or side of you, the light that comes in, whether it's a sunny day or a day like today, it can really affect the contrast of you and your background, and it does not make for a great conference experience. So I have two elevations of windows, unfortunately, fortunately, except when I'm on a webcam, in my office. And I don't have room darkening shades in here, they're translucent. So what I did is I started to look into how I could change this, and I researched this, and I found that virtual backgrounds could remedy this and a whole bunch of other things. So what you're looking at today is a virtual background. They hide chaos. They hide books, they hide papers, they hide lists, other clutter. Let's say you're in a makeshift office. They're going to make you look great. Nobody knows that you're in a bad office. I mean, my office is beautiful, but the lighting is terrible in here. So you can disguise a lot of evils by having a virtual background. And one of the things that I love to do was take photos from my clients' projects and make those my virtual backgrounds when I'm having meetings with my clients. They love it. When they first come on, they're so surprised because they're looking at their room and their smiles, you know, their faces light up in smiles, and it just starts the meeting out on such an awesome tone, and it makes it for a great conversation piece too, to starter. So you can think about that. And again, we talked a little about this. I just had an issue Brian brought up to me, the internet. So my husband's a big techie. We're already optimized here in our house. We have 3 different routers, 5G, this, that, and the other thing that I could care less about understanding as long as things work. But a lot of people have been really getting stuck with not having great internet capability. And there's so many people on right now that it's not surprising. So if you have people that are working in the home with you, whether it's your family, and maybe you're even having your colleagues there once we can start to do that at social distancing, you want to make sure that streaming of movies and any kind of video or gaming, if you've got kids, is not being done while you're conducting meetings. So that's a boundary that you really, really need to set, because the internet is not as robust as it was before COVID, and it's going to continue to be a challenge for all of us. So just think about that. And if you can optimize and get more bandwidth, you're probably even better off. Also, if you're discussing any sensitive information in your online meetings with anyone that you're working with, you want to probably enable a watermark on your audio and your video of your meeting so that you can protect your own intellectual property. And I think this is a whole new navigating area for many of us. So I really wanted to bring that to your attention, because you do want to protect your intellectual property and your creative ideas from just bouncing off onto the web. People screenshot things, put them up as their own. You know, you really want to be careful about things such as this, because they are happening and they will happen. Also, when we're thinking about avoiding isolation and loneliness, that is so key right now. And while some of us are in states and places within states that you're allowed to start seeing one another now, social distancing, opening up of businesses, we need a little bit more personal contact, but maybe we're not ready for that. So it's really helpful for me. I've always done this, but I know a lot of firms have started doing this that I've been talking to during COVID. And you adopt that daily meeting or twice daily meeting. Maybe it's in the morning, maybe it's in the evening as you recap the day. Maybe you do lunch together and you all share what's gone on in the morning and share what you have as your action items for the afternoon. But having that routine of meeting and collaborating with your team, and if you're a solopreneur, maybe that's your time to meet with a vendor or meet with your GC about a job or schedule a client meeting, but just having that connectivity is super important. ASID, New York Metro and New Jersey have done an amazing job of creating all these opportunities for you to connect. The happy hours, the coffee talk, you know, the lunch and learns that you have. I think this is all incredible. And what I've also done is, like, I've created groups with people that I was on the chapter support task force with in national. We've had our own happy hours. I've done calls with a couple of my sorority sisters. We've done a cocktail hour with friends and family. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to get a little more personal with people without actually having contact. And if you are having contact, just, you know, please be as safe as you can. This week was my first time at a client's house. I wore a mask, I wore gloves, I stayed 13 feet away from them because I've heard 6 is not enough, according to a doctor on the Today Show one day. And so, you know, you just have to really be careful. But, you know, also leave the house and Purell the heck out of yourself before you get in your car, Purell everything, and then get in your car and take a deep breath. It wasn't easy. It was hot. It's not fun to be in the mask, but you have to just be safe. And if you set those parameters, like I had a whole guideline sheet that I sent the client. Here's the way we're going to work today. And I sent it to the contractor too. I arrived there, he's in the garage, no mask. And finally, he saw me with my mask and he put it on because I wasn't getting out of the car until he put his mask on. So I want you just to think about it's another way that you set boundaries and set expectations for your clients and those that you're working with, and for your team. You want them to feel safe too. If you're bringing a team member, and I brought one of my interns to this meeting, and I wanted her to feel safe as well. So I think it's very important that you set that tone. So when I'm talking about routines, which is something that I'm really big on, I want to just suggest that if some of you are still in this kind of limbo land of not really knowing what you're doing every day. Maybe a lot of your clients are still on hiatus and you don't really have a schedule that you need to keep. Maybe you have employees that are still furloughed or they're coming back very slowly. I'm going to suggest to you that if you haven't already done it, you get right back on the saddle and get into the routine that you had prior to our COVID captivity. I never left it. I think it's super important to always keep a routine. I've actually upped it since COVID-19. And every morning I get up, set hour, and I go down either to the basement, to the gym if it's not nice, or since it's been so nice over the last 4 weeks, I've been out almost every day on a power wog, I'm calling it now. I walk, I jog, I do HIIT, squats, lunges, the whole thing. And it sets me up for success for my day in a way in which I don't think you can have without getting that workout. For me anyway, some people like to work out at night, but for me, the morning is a game changer. So if you're not doing workout, that's fine. Do whatever makes you feel good, but do all the other things. Get up, shower, brush your teeth, go down, make your breakfast, do your normal morning routine, whatever that is that you had before and you're not commuting, and then get to your desk and be ready to work. Because I think that that's really important. When I say get dressed, I'm being honest with you. I get dressed every single day, and not just from the waist up, because I think it's important for us not to be in sweats, because God knows what we're going to look like when we walk out of our houses. If you're wearing your clothes, you're less apt to indulge too much. And if God forbid somebody comes to your door, you want to look presentable. You're a designer. You never know where your next client is coming from. Even when you go to the grocery store and you're behind a mask. I was at Trader Joe's a number of weeks ago and somebody said, "Are you Phyllis Harbinger?" And I'm like, "Oh, seriously?" Like through the mask. And so, you really want to just have that impression of the fact that you care about who you are and what you do, because we are our brands. So you have to live your brand 24/7. And I really hope that some of you will do that. So this is going to really keep you in a good way when you do get to re-entry. And here's just a couple more tips I want to give you. Take 5 regularly. Really easy when you're in the office with other people. You get up, you go speak to an employee, you go speak to a colleague, but you want to avoid burnouts. So a 5-minute break every hour is really good. Take the dog for an extra walk. Your dog will love it. Go out and play with your kids if you have kids. Your kids will be so happy to see you because they didn't have you before this happened. If you weren't working from home, maybe you want to do a quick meditation, 5-minute meditation. My 2 faves are Calm and Breathe. They're great apps and you can get it done in 5 minutes. Maybe spend like some time stretching or walking up and down your stairs in an apartment building or even in your house. I can go up and down my 3 flights of stairs and it's really good to just get your juices flowing again. And maybe you want to stretch because stretching is awesome for you as well. In addition, standing is great. Get up and stand because it's going to help your neck and your back. And some of us have sit-stand desks. I don't, but I've been looking into an apparatus that does sit-stand with your computer. So that's a really big thing for you to look at too. And there's so many different models out there. So do some research and find something that works for you if you're planning to be here for a while. I think that can make your life laptop, get a
A really bad connection.
bad connection.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of, we're getting static in the last, probably about the last 30, 45 seconds. We've had some static. We heard a little bit about the standing desk, but there's been some static on your end, sorry.
Okay, I don't have anything giving me any notices here. That's weird. Usually it does. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, right now we can hear you fine. Thank you. It's just,
Okay.
it goes in and out. And generally, I know that when we've done these, it doesn't always tell us. So,
Okay. So keep telling me so that I can repeat. So I was talking about a sit-stand desk or a sit-down adjustable apparatus, which you can get for a very reasonable cost, and it'll let you raise and lower your computer so that you can get up, you can sit down, and it'll be better. Also invest in a really good ergonomic chair. I mean, we tell our clients this all the time, take your own. Now I'm really using it, and I'm so grateful that I have it because it's really, really great. Give me 1 second. I see the internet is unstable again. Can you hear me okay now?
We can, yeah. There's a little bit of a delay in your video with your voice, just to let you know, sorry.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Technology, right? It's a
yes. And I have the Mac Daddy stuff here, but it still doesn't matter. So did you all hear about suggesting a larger monitor? Yeah? Okay,
yes.
Good. So then I'd also like you to think about publishing your calendar. You can use Google Calendar, you can use iCal, you can use anything you want, but publish your calendar and communicate with your team and your family what you're doing, when you're doing it. It allows you to really set your boundaries in of your time, when you're available to team members, when you're not available, when you're available to family members, and when you're not available. And I think that's a very, very important thing so that they can understand your commitments. You can also block time off for heads down work. You can block time off for collaboration and screen sharing and redlining. And I think that that will make it much better for you. And eliminate distractions whenever possible. If you can, shut the door in the room that you're using for your work from home environment. Give yourself some privacy and some separation from what's going on in the rest of your home. That's very important. And if you can't do that, even hanging a curtain or setting up a folding screen to give you that sense of territoriality and separation from the rest of what's happening in your home will really enhance your work environment and create distraction. I also really advise you to close tabs and pause notifications on all of your devices so that you're not tempted to constantly check your social media. We're all on this drug, and it would really be great if you didn't stay on that drug. I mute all of my settings on my phone and my iPad and all my devices, and I go in maybe once an hour and check on things because I find it really distracts from workflow if you're always on those channels. You don't work as effectively. So I highly recommend that you take that into advisement. Remember, everyone on your team, your clients, your vendors, your friends, your family are most likely in the same boat that you are. They commiserate with you. They share your challenges. There might be a dog barking in the background when you're on a meeting. There might be a child crying or coming up and needing mommy, or a doorbell rings while you're in a meeting. That's all okay while we're in COVID. It can't always be prevented. And it's not the end of the world. We've all gotten used to this over the past few months. I just suggest that you all do your best to prepare your workspace for the most ultimate environment that you can make it and be happy with that, adjust to the new normal, be flexible and nimble as we navigate these waters, and shrug off the little things. It's just stuff, and you're all doing great. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Phyllis. There's been a couple. Pravina asked, could you type in the chat some of the programs that you were suggesting, WebEx, AutoCAD, etc. So I don't know if you can type those in.
Hold on a second, I've got to get out of full screen.
What we can do is you can always email them to us and we can email them out to the list after this. We're more than happy to do that as well for the group.
Sure, and if anyone, I was going to put together a list of other things, and if you're interested, you can email us at info@phyllisharbinger.com, and I'm happy to send you a cheat sheet. But here I'll put into the chat other things that were just asked, and I can have Allie send this out to you as well. She'll send it to everybody that was on. Okay. And 360.
Tracy Stevens has a question. She asks, and this is just so everybody know, this is Phyllis's opinion on, can you share what your COVID job site guidelines are? So this is Phyllis's practices. This is not the state's, or this is Phyllis's practice. What is your guidelines for a job site during this COVID right now?
So everyone is required to wear masks. Everyone must social distance. Everyone must wear gloves. There must be hand sanitizer on site. If we have to look at a detail, one person at a time goes and looks at a detail. If we're meeting with clients, we're either sitting outside if weather permits, or we're sitting socially distant from one another. I make multiple copies so that everybody has a copy. We're not sharing copies of a drawing. And I think that's really critical because you do not want to be sharing pens, sharing paper, because the virus can spread that way. The most important thing is to keep everybody safe and secure and well. And so whatever we can do to manage that is important. Not sharing cars, going in separate cars. I think that would be really great. The virtual backgrounds, I wanted to just mention Nest Casa, and I'll type that in here. Has some excellent virtual backgrounds. And you can also put wallpapers up as your background, like a wallpaper that you love from a favorite company could become your background. And photos that you have, really beautiful photos from your clients' jobs have been great. One day I was meeting with some sorority sisters and I really wanted to be at the beach. So I had taken a photo of my walk to the beach the other day and I put that up behind me. So I think that the sky is the limit of what you can put back there. If you're watching any television, you're seeing what they're doing. Take your notes from them, but then make it your own because we're designers and we are the most creative on the planet.
Rick Barton, and this is, I would say, an opinion from everybody, but Rick Barton asked, he's new, I believe, an emerging professional.
Welcome.
You touched briefly on backgrounds. Are they absolutely necessary? Should we shield our space, as everyone sees, you know? Should we have a virtual background, or I mean, do you think it's just a personal opinion, professional?
No, I think it's a personal opinion. I don't always use a virtual background. I use it when I'm up here in my office because it's the best solution for lighting up here. But sometimes when I'm shooting video, you'll see parts of my home all over my video. You'll see my backyard in my video. So no, it is not. And if you have a great backdrop, sell it, use it, flaunt it. It's all good.
Other questions? Come on, we have such a great speaker here, so let's take advantage of this time and ask Phyllis some questions, or Sandy or Alyssa, both presidents of ASID. This is a great time to get some ideas, especially with Jersey opening up, to get some feelers out there. Anyone? Crickets?
Yeah, I have a question. What do you do as far as motivating your staff when you see that those levels are quite low and it's kind of affecting the rest of the team members? What strategies do you have in order to getting the morale back up to a good place where it has to be productive?
That is such a good question. I really start every day with asking how everybody's feeling, if there are any challenges right now. And sometimes you don't see them, like you're saying, Kasim. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of an intuitive, and I think most designers have that intuition. We can feel and read our clients. You can read your employees. You know what's happening. I think that you want to look at that and say, hey, is anybody having an issue? And if it's somebody that's not disclosing, maybe you take them, and you have a side conversation with them and you explore what might be happening. Hey, can I help you with something? Are you having a challenge? Is it the workload? Is it something that's happening at home? Because there are so many myriad differences now working in this remote environment that you don't have when we're all connected together physically. So I think it's important to do that. We also do some funky stuff, my feng shui stuff, which is we ring the Tibetan bells. We'll do some breathing exercises. I make people get up and do jumping to get the lymph going. I mean, just do whatever you think is going to work and bring a happy smile to someone's face, even if it's for that moment. I think that it's really, what's your culture? I have a very kind of woo culture in my work environment, and it's a very loving place. I have strict guidelines, but I'm also really approachable. So it really depends on your office culture and what makes you feel good, and what you see your staff now, gravitating to. If they're dancing, put on a great song and just dance for 5 minutes. Dancing will make anybody feel good, in my opinion, unless you really hate dancing, but I love dancing. So that would be something that we would do. Is that helpful for you? Okay, good.
Yeah, that was a great question, Kasim. Really good question. Rick Martin has another question. I'd love for you to elaborate on the what to expect document. So he'd like you to maybe expand on that document, what to expect.
So it's a couple of pages long. It goes through everything that we do, what our process is, how you can expect us to be on time, how our interns and our project manager and our design assistants and junior designers will be involved. There's just so much in that document, and it's like it's a part of our life, but we go over it with our clients and we make sure that they understand, and we do it right at the beginning when they're signing an agreement, because I had one time where I gave that agreement after somebody had signed the letter of agreement. I gave the what to expect document after. And it was a problem because the woman's like, oh, I can't meet during the day. I work during the day. I can only meet at night and on weekends. And so I said to her, you know what? That's not our office culture. I totally get it. But before we start to go down this road, you want to not do this with us? We understand. If we're not the team for you, then that's okay, but we can accommodate you. We can come to your office for meetings. We could set up days where we take care and tackle a number of things in one day. You take a day off, you take a sick day, or you take a personal day, whatever it is. And she ended up going with us, but gave her an out. And she saw that I was willing to show her how she could work with us. So I think that that's very important, that you lay all of your ground rules out. I don't get in touch with my clients when I'm on vacation. Years ago, I used to put my cell phone in a safe when we were on our cruises. I can't do that anymore because I have aging parents, but you really, bless you, Brian, you really can set the boundaries here and make it so that it works for you and your team. And I don't want people calling and texting my team after hours either. So that's all in my agreement as well, that they sign. It's a document that they actually sign.
Question for you on that. I think it does. To expand on that, is there like maybe a mock document that we could maybe share with the group, or is there somewhere that there's LegalZoom that people can go and use to type up things? Was there a place that you went to format this what to expect document? Was there someone that helped you format this that we can maybe share with the group, or maybe you can email us that and we can then send it out to
it's actually a proprietary document that I created, and I use it with my coaching clients. So I can't share it because it's part of that mode, but I learned a lot of this from 30 years of experience, or 20 when I created it, 20 years of experience, because it was 10 years ago. But I have to say that hearing things from clients, look back at the things that didn't work with your clients.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to pick on Rick for a second because I know Rick's still new, but for him getting started, he doesn't know what those boundaries are. And, there's some people that are just starting their design business, and you're very fortunate that you've had 30 years. Is there somewhere that you can maybe direct some of our emerging professionals or students that are on this that can maybe look at a draft of something, or is there a lawyer that specializes in this that they can hire? Is there somewhere that you can guide them? I mean, you teach, so is there something that
there are two lawyers that are very supportive of ASID. One is Alan Siegel, and he's spoken for our chapter many, many times, and he's been national counsel for 40 years. And then there's CJ Berger, who has also been generous to the chapter. She works with a lot of interior designers, contractors, the design build industry, and she might be able to help you to craft a document. But what I would suggest as an emerging professional, if you're working for someone, take copious notes on what they're doing, what their practices are, what you think resonates with your personal style and what doesn't. But really, it came from years of just looking at what happens in client meetings. I really highly suggest the first things you do are set your office hours, set your text and email protocols so that you have email and text etiquette. A text is, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, or can I speak with you later? But it's not here's the drawing that we're doing, or I want to change that material that you suggested for the settee. That is not what we use text for. I think email is where that comes in. And also being really careful with your grammar in email, making sure that you're spell checking and grammar checking. There's an app called Grammarly for those of you that didn't come from my generation, where it was drilled into us to speak and write correctly. I do this with my students all the time, and it's mind-blowing to me, but we have apps now. We didn't have that. We had dictionaries. So I would suggest that you really think about email and text etiquette and phone etiquette. And I want to just say, picking up a phone is the best way. I don't care what generation you come from. The absolute best way to communicate with your clients, with your vendors, and with your colleagues is phone. Or this. When I have anything where I feel there might be a challenge, I'll say, let's hop on a Zoom call. Because then I can see them, they can see me, and you can assuage so many potential disasters by just having that talk, seeing someone face to face, and not having to make a trip there.
Thank you. Jonathan asked, are there three top marketing tactics that we should use for residential clients, or is there three marketing tactics that you like to use for residential clients, Phyllis?
So I have what I call a marketing pie, and I'd be happy to share that with you all. And you have to fill in the marketing pie based on what works for you. I have 8 different segments of the pie, and then you kind of look at the pie and figure out what you can use as tactics for each of those 8 modules. I think that your being your brand and enhancing your brand and living your brand is your top marketing tactic, always and forever. I think that being out there, especially now in this age on social media, and posting relevant information, sharing, getting on LinkedIn is really super important, and getting into groups on LinkedIn to grow your brand and grow your awareness. Instagram, I think, beats Facebook by hands down. I think Instagram is where designers live. It's also a great marketing tool to sell and promote your business if that's something you want to do. If you're doing product, you can do everything from Instagram and link back to your other platforms. I also see Pinterest as getting more and more important in our business because you can do a lot of things through Pinterest and create a lot of awareness there. So that's something else. If you're not using it yet, I think it's definitely a missed opportunity.
Linda has a question for you. It's, what is the best bookkeeping software for one-person design firm?
Okay, so I have a bookkeeper that goes into my design manager and does everything for me there. She comes in virtually. She's always been virtual. So I use a virtual bookkeeper. She also does QuickBooks if people are on QuickBooks. And a lot of bookkeepers do that. But if you're using Studio Webware or another tool, there are professionals that specialize in each of these different software platforms that we all use as designers. So you can think about that as well.
We're at 5 o'clock. We'll open up to say maybe 3 more questions.
I wish I could stay, but I have an annual meeting at 5 o'clock that I have to hop onto. I could do one more question, and then I've really got to go to be present at this annual meeting. I'm sorry.
Is there one more question? Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Phyllis, thank you so much for your time.
You're so welcome. Thank you all for being here.
Much. Alyssa?
Thank you so much. We'll wrap it up real quick then so you can get to your annual meeting. But thank you for your time, Phyllis. Thank you for all of the insight and the tips and tricks, and to all of our members in New York and New Jersey for coming together today. And we look forward to seeing everyone hopefully at the next one.
Let's do it again.
Thank you for being here. I wish you all so well, and be safe. And hopefully we'll be able to connect in person soon. Ciao.
See you on Monday at noon.